everyone, Melissa here with livingafrugallife.com. I wanted to talk today a little bit about toy organization and utilizing space in your kids' rooms. Now we have all three kids in one room to be able to save on money. We moved into a 2-bedroom place, and I wanted to show you their room and point out a few of the things that we use for organization here. Okay, the first thing here, move that toy out of the way, is our shoe cubby. Now this was a really neat thing we found at Target, and it held all of the shoes that the kids need. Now if we get shoes and there's no spot for them, then that means that we have too many pairs of shoes and we need to get rid of one. So one shoe in means one shoe out. It kind of gives us a gauge to know how many pairs of shoes we need, and kind of keeps things organized. And the kids love it because we can say, go put your shoes in the cubby. They know exactly where they go. It keeps them organized for us. The second thing that we use is this IKEA cubby shelf. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But we bought this when we got here, and I absolutely love it. It is wonderful for keeping the stuff organized and corralled in the kids' room. Each kid has their own shelf with books, which is really, really nice. And we're able to keep the other stuff pretty well organized. Now the drawers on there, each one has a different thing in it. Some of them have hats, some of them have dress-up clothes, some of them have dolls. But it just keeps those little items corralled in one spot. This is an ongoing process of organization for us because we're still trying to figure out how to organize the little items. So you'll see that there's some shelves, like this one, that's a little bit unorganized, but it gets better, you know, as the day goes on. This one has the puzzles behind that book, and that stays pretty organized there. One thing that we do a lot of right now is to utilize the secret spots, is what I call them. These are the spots like under the bed where normally people don't look or think to put things. But we bought these long boxes that fit all the way under the bed, and they are so neat. They're something that we use all the time to keep the kids' stuff off the floor and tucked away. That first box there is Legos. This box holds all the lightsabers and the swords and the boy stuff. This one holds all the Batman, Transformers, and other little figures that my son plays with. And this one right here holds all of the dress-up clothes and the jewelry and the doctor stuff and all of that the kids really love to use. Another great thing about these is that the kids know exactly where they are. They can pull them out, they can open them up. They also can put their items back in the box to close up to put away. So it's really nice to be able to keep it organized and tucked away off the floor. Because of that, we're able to have this huge space here on the floor where the kids can play. And if it gives them just an option for play in their room instead of always having to be out in the living area. Nice. This was a really neat thing that we discovered. You can see this. There's a command hook right here, and we have 3 of them on here, and we bought this at Ross or someplace on clearance again. And we just use those command hooks to hook it onto the door. So then all of her dresses are on the door. They are hung up and tucked away. And we don't have to worry about them being out in the open, being pulled off by Kylie, anything like that. They're kept safe, and they are kept very clean and neat. And Reagan's really good about putting them back. And we've really worked hard with her to teach her to do that, to keep them up here. But they look so much nicer when you can close the door and keep them all tucked away. Okay, so one of the things that we really utilize in our house too, these closets were made a little bit different. Like if you remember my closet post about our closet, has a little door and it's really far back, so it's kind of hard to organize. Now these doors are both big, they open up. We use, you know, the dressers in the closet to keep them off the walls out here because we need the space for the beds. But then that left these little tiny spots to the side where we can't really fit much through. So what we've done is we've stored our items back there that we don't use very often. There's our little porta crib, our pack and play, and Braxton's Batman cave. It's very small, thin, barely fits through that little place, but it's a perfect place to store it out of the way. So utilize those little spaces in your house. Utilize those little spaces under beds and corners if you have them, you know, on the sides of closets where you can tuck things away and then you don't have to worry about them. Same with this up space. One thing I want to do is get a shelf up there so we can put items that we don't use as often up on the shelf higher so that we can use this shelf for things that we need and need to have access to. And so that's one way that you want to look for organization of toys and things, or even clothes, is to use that up space on your walls and in your closets and try and figure out what you can put to build up storage. Because if you have clothes that are taking up space, like let's say down here you have clothes that are taking up space in that spot that you'd really like to put toys, you can then tuck them away somewhere else and be able to still have the toys there in an accessible place. So if you have any ideas that you would like to share about how you keep your toys corralled, I'd love to hear them. Also, if you're looking for a time limit for toys, I would say probably 6 months. If they haven't been played with in 6 months, then it would be totally okay for you to get rid of them. I would suggest selling the ones that you that are still usable. Sell them to someone else that might want them, and use that money to buy the new toys. This is a good way to kind of keep recycling the money and also be able to save some in the future, because toys can get expensive and kids want a lot of different things, and so if their styles changing and what they desire changing, it's a really great way to be able to save money and make the most of what you have. If there are broken ones, obviously you don't want to be selling those or donate them. If they're ones that are kind of well used, you maybe wouldn't get enough out of them, then donating them is a great thing, because there's a lot of kids that will want those items. And even like giving them to women's shelters, women's and children's shelters, is a great way to get rid of those toys that you don't want. So if you have any ideas, please leave them down in the comment section, and I'd love to hear about your organization of toys and what you do to get ideas. Also, check out livingafrugallife.com, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, or join me on Facebook at facebook.com/livingafrugallife. It's a great place of community where people can share deals that they get, or frugal living tips, simple living tips, and organization on a dime.